All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, and people can filter in as they please. So today's webinar is going to be about 30 to 40 minutes, hopefully sticking to that 30 mark. It is on ABC data collection, just a few housekeeping items. From time to time, I will check the questions. I'll check them after each kind of section that I'm going to be going over. So type your questions. If I don't answer immediately, it means I'm just kind of in the middle of the flow, and I will get back to it shortly. This is being recorded, so I already started the recording, and then afterwards I'll transfer it to a file, and then what we'll do is we'll put it up on our YouTube later. We'll put it in the help, and then we'll also, anyone that's registered, obviously, will get that to their email box. So you'll get that. At the end, I'll also give you my email address in case there's any questions that relate to the presentation. All right. And then lastly, ABC data collection is not in your account now. So don't go, looking for it, as I'm showing you around, because it won't be there. But I'm also going to go over how you're going to get that in your account. All right. So I'm Greg. I see some familiar names out there in the crowd. So a lot of you I've worked with. My job here is a little mixture of product development on the clinical side, helping push these great new features out the door. A lot of it comes from user feedback. A lot of my visits around the U.S., checking in on different groups, a lot of great feedback. So that's part of my role. The other part is a little bit of sales, helping new organizations come on board with CentralReach and learn. And then also a little bit of training duties. So been with the company for a long time and love it. So had a chance to work with a bunch of you guys. All right. And then, just a little overview. So some of you in the crowd are new, and then there are some prospective folks as well. So I always spend about a minute just going over what Learn is. So it is our clinical platform. It's been around for years. A lot agencies are finding a lot of great tools in the Learn module. It's really your clinical toolkit. Okay. The first and foremost item in the Learn module is basically the learning tree. So that's your online program book. So a lot of our users are utilizing it to put their binders, to put their data books in CentralReach. So that's where it all starts. From there, a lot of people do take their online data. So that's our session, okay, our session module, the ability to take offline and online and group data collection. So that's our suite of session tools. And then we have a lot of folks doing advanced data analysis, looking at the graphs, analyzing the graphs, and obviously auditing the goals and the progress of their clients. So you can do all that in Learn. And you, of course, can also make courses, assign them and track your staff through those courses, and also staff management. You can build a little book for your staff members, take data on their behavior, and then analyze it and tie it into a performance review. So that's a cool little feature inside Learn as well. We have a lot of new staff management tools coming out over the next month or so. So look forward to pushing those out. And then, of course, the progress reporting tools. So progress reports, daily session notes, supervision, incident report. Those are all different pieces of the Learn module there. All right. So let's get into today's presentation. All right. So I have a little overview here. I did have a slideshow, but we're really just going to focus the most time in CentralReach today. Okay. But today's focus broken up into a few sections here, as you can see on the screen. How to make ABC sheet templates. Okay, so you have to make a narrative sheet or a structured ABC sheet. So we're going to go into that. Then how to make it active. When do you want to use it? What behaviors you want to use it for, right? So choosing targets that you want to collect. Then, of course, taking ABC data. A lot of our users are really taking it in the session now. Probably about 90% of our users are doing that live data sheet. But we don't want to forget about those users that still enter directly into the learning tree. So there's a way to do that with ABC as well. There's a way to view your table results branch by branch or book by book, and also print that out over a date range for those nice little printouts that you have to bring to IEP meetings or parent meetings. And then we have a new little batch of graphs in our graph analysis module that users will be able to explore. All right, so that's our agenda for today. And I'm going to hop over into my site. So give me a second to switch my little screen around here. All right, great. And then my last confirmation, Can everyone see my CentralReach screen? And then we're going to dive in. Awesome. All right, cool. So one more piece of information to tell you. So I am on a development site, okay? So it should work perfectly, hopefully, right? It's a little different, right? So some different little look and feel to the development site. A little bit about the ABC data collection. So it's not live yet. It will be permission and organizationally based, which means some new users are signing up for it and they can subscribe to it. And then all our older Learn users that are paying customers will have access to it as well. I'll go into that a little more detail in the end of the presentation. But what will happen first is when we push this, we're pushing it to a small sample of users, okay? So you will have to wait a couple more weeks for this to come out, but we're going to push it to a beta group this week, most likely today or tomorrow, okay, and you will be notified. Those beta group are just the people that I've met with that really helped me shape this tool, really gave us some feedback about, what the tool, what they wanted it to look like. So we are launching it as just a beta version for just a couple weeks, and then it will be pushed into all the Learn paying subscribers accounts thereafter, okay? So that's a little bit, I'll explain a little more at the end. But let's dive in. Okay, so ABC is typically collected on behaviors, obviously, and you want to have it per student or per child or per individual that you want to collect it for. Okay, so we're going to dive into our learning tree, and then we're going to go into how to set this up. Okay, so I am going to jump into my Learn module, and I'm going to go to my learning trees first, and I'm going to start to explain the process. I do have a fake child here, Matt Storm, and Matt has an ABA program book. So for supervisors that always go to their book to analyze things and to, check out graphs, they're going to be able to switch on ABC data collection and switch it off when they don't need it anymore and be able to view the results. So it makes sense that it's nicely packaged in their learning tree. All right, so here I am, and I want to create a new ABC sheet. All right, so I'm going to come over here to my top left corner to my tree options. I'm going to click, and notice that I have a spot for ABC history. I'm going to have my graphs and my graph analysis. We're going to get there, all right? But we're going to set it up first. I'm going to come over here and notice that when this goes live, and if you subscribe, you're going to have a new little link, right? ABC table selector. I'm going to click that link, and here is here's kind of the some information for you that'll pop up. Now, I already have a couple, all right? We're going to go through this and think that I don't have any, and we're going to create one together. But when you come here, if you already have some selected, you're going to see your ABC templates. Maybe 6 months from now, you have a few templates that you want to use across people. You want to have a little template that you can just tweak and modify. But these are some that I've already created in my account. For the first time, you're not going to have any, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to manage your ABC templates, and it's going to bring you to a different screen, okay? So this screen obviously has those two that you just saw there, and I can add a new one. All right, so for our first thing, we're going to just add a new one, and I'm going to show you how. You want to have this a little bit of a descriptive title so that you know which one you're going to use and which one you're going to use for which child, okay? Because there might be some different columns that you want to collect. You might want to collect ABC and then location, who was there, what activity they were doing, right? This is what you're going to create. You don't have to create it every time. You're going to create a few at the beginning, and then you're going to just pick them for that child, okay? But for us, our purposes today, I'm just going to do ABC with, a location column, all right? And then I'm just going to put a little description, right? A, B, C with a with a single select location column, all right? It's just to help me remember what it's going to be. Here you have a very nice, easy column creator, okay? So here is my ABC sheet, and I'm just designing it. So think of that Word document, right? That piece of paper where historically you might just have a very simple narrative, right? A, B, C with spots to write, or you might have a more structured with checkboxes or choices for the staff member. So here we are. We give you the A, the B is going to be tied to behaviors, which we'll get to, and the C, of course, right? And I can add a column, and I'm going to put location, right? And then I'm going to push enter, and I'm going to save that. I'm going to enter some options. So let's say school, right? Let's say home. Let's say kitchen, right? Let's get specific. Let's say McDonald's, right? Anything you want, okay? So you're going to create those. You also have the option of adding a 5th column. During this beta version, and kind of just to get some feedback, we wanted to get it out there. We wanted to limit it just a little bit so you can have ABC and 2 additional columns, okay? And then if I type in here, right, I'm able to remove that column. So now I'm back to that. All right. Antecedents, you can have single select, multi-select, or free text. If I make free text, users will enter their own response. If I do single select or multi-select, right, I can just type my answers, okay. Okay, so I'm just typing some random ones. All right, so that is how easy it is to create your template. And we're going to get into a little bit, of what these choices really mean, but it's pretty self-explanatory, right? So free text means they can write. Multi-select, they're going to be able to click one or more. And then single select, right, it only happened in one location, right? So it's nice and easy. Another really cool tool that you can do behind the scenes, this was from feedback from the users that I met with, is really tying a hypothesized function to the behavior and kind of setting it up behind the scenes so that when users click a certain consequence, it kind of gathers that information and it kind of compiles it into functions for you. Now it's of course, not causal, but it's correlational, right? And you can kind of just hypothesize with this information. But if you want to set up behind the scenes what each potential consequence might function as, you can just click this little plus and you're going to be able to click, right? And I'm just clicking randomly here just for speed, right? You can kind of just click anything you want, right? And tie it to a function, all right? Now, why that's important is you're going to get a graph that helps you out later on, okay? Also, the therapists, the direct therapists that don't really know about kind of the reasoning behind it, they're not going to see what you put there, right? They're not going to be able to guess. This is just stuff that the consultant might tie in to their template, okay? So that's it, right? So that is, how to make a template, okay? Now, your templates are secured right here. There's no save button. You just kind of go back and then you're good to go. All right, you can always delete one if it's coming up and you have too many over time. So that is the creation, okay? Pretty easy stuff. Quick questions on the creation, okay? Anyone have a question on the creation of a template? All right, cool. No questions yet. I'll keep plugging along. I'm going to go back to that tree, okay? Now let's pretend I've made that, right? I make it, ABC comes out, it's in my account, I make a couple. Now with different individuals I serve, I want to trigger it, right? Just because you have a template doesn't mean it's active to collect data on. You have to trigger it. How do you trigger it? Go right back to your book, Learning Tree Options, Table Selector, right? And notice there's my new one, but I already had one checked off, okay? So I'm just going to leave that because I already have it set up for us to take some good data, okay? But you just click the little check to select it. One rule, you can only have one at a time, okay? You can take more than one behavior. You can take more data more than one at a time, but only one sheet. The system is only going to let you click one active sheet, okay? A couple of the other little buttons. This little button is just the table headers, just to show you, right? It's just a quick little view, because imagine if you have 10 of these that you've made. Just a little quick view into that. And then, of course, this one, edit the ABC template. All right, this little square with a little arrow, that's just how to open it up and edit it if you need to. Okay, so we're good. We're good to go. All right, so that's it with this little settings up here. I have selected it, okay? Now, behaviors. Okay, what do I do about my behaviors? So I already have a behavior section, right? It's right here, right? How do I get them on my ABC sheet? We had a lot of feedback in the surveys that I've done and the people I've met with. There could have been a lot of different ways to do this, but first version, right, version 1 of this, we've decided to go a certain route, okay? So any behavior that you have labeled a behavior domain will show up for the ability to take ABC data, okay? What that means is, if I go to this little behavior folder, and I go to this goal tab, my domain is behavior, okay? Or any of the little behavioral domains, aggression, noncompliance, elopement, okay? Something needs to be behavior, all right? I can do it at the top level, or I can do it in the middle level, right? My short term, okay, domain, or I can do it at the targets, okay? But anything in there, as long as it's labeled as a domain of behavior, it will show up on the ABC data sheet, okay? So that is how you trigger it. If you don't want all these, then maybe take off the the little domain as behavior, but that's how it currently works, okay? So that's that part. And then I do have a question here. Can you edit after you have started using it? Yes, you can, Kate. So you can edit it as soon as after you start using it, for sure, okay? The history, right, when I show you the history of it, it'll change a little bit, right? You'll have your little table, and then you'll have one location, one column, but then you might change that, and then they will be able to, your little history will be kind of a different table with different columns if you edit it in the middle. Okay. What about for a brand new behavior that's never been seen? Great question, Penelope. So currently, right now, you do have to have a branch that's behavior. Okay. So what I would advise is just having a little behavior section and just putting a branch called new behavior. That's what I advise a lot of users, even before ABC. You just have a behavior that might come up. You do a treatment plan. You're not really sure what's going to go on yet with that child, with that individual. Maybe parent reports some sort of behaviors, but you're really not sure how to define it yet. Just put a little blank one that's labeled behavior and just put new behavior. Put it in the data sheet, and then you can always come back and tweak the title later. Okay. One more question. Can you please show how the behaviors are added again? Yes, Linda, no problem. The behaviors are already going to be here. Okay. And of course, if you need to add a new one, right, you're just going to kind of click your branch, your parent branch, add a new one, go to data collection, and then type in your new target, your stimuli, your behavior right here. So that's how to add a new target. But to label it as a domain of behavior, you just click on the branch, and you can do it for the parent, and it will follow it down. Okay, it'll follow it down. So you don't have to do them all like that. But just go to the goal tab on the right side and make sure this domain says behavior reduction, or any of the behavioral domains. All right, so I'm going to rock and roll now. Okay, so that's how you pick your behaviors. We're going to go to the next little section. We're going to go how to take data. All right, then I'll take some more questions in a few. How do I take data? Well, I happen to be in the book right now, right? Tantrum. Okay, I already did my session, but I wasn't using live data, and maybe I forgot my tablet, whatever it may be, but I have to add some ABC right now. Okay, so what do? I add data. So that's what makes sense, right? I add data, and now you have a new little button. Note, right now you won't. And of course, if you don't have ABC when it goes live and you're not subscribing to it, you won't have that button either, okay? But I have it clicked in my account, so there I go, right? Antecedent, right? Consequence. Notice the lack of the behavior because it already knows it's tantrum, okay? I click my information, add ABC, right? And it's added, okay? So that's how to add data. We are going to get how to view data in a few minutes, but I'm going to go in a nice order for everyone. Okay, so that's how to add data from the tree. Very simple. Right side, click Oh, sorry, we're not there yet. Add data, add ABC, and plug it in. Okay. Next up, the session. Okay. The session. How do we add data in a session? So I'm going to go to my session folder, right? I'm going to pull up Matt. Matt has one turned on. Here's Matt's data sheet. Okay. Matt's session. I'm going to start that session up as normal, right? I can do some data, click, 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 right? Frequency data, right? My pinned view, and hopefully you guys can see it on the screen here, my pinned view is at the bottom, okay? If my pinned view is shut, you'll notice a little handy ABC button right next to the pinned button, all right? So if pinned is shut, you have ABC right here, and if pinned is open, you have ABC in the far right bottom corner. Pop, click it open, and then you can choose your behavior, okay? So I can choose my behavior from there. Again, if you have your pinned shut, click the same little ABC button, pop, and then you click your behavior. I'm going to stick with that tantrum behavior, okay? I highlighted it. If you want to take two behaviors at once, right? So let's say you presented food, then hitting and tantrum occurred, right? You push Control C, right? Or something different, you kind of just hold it down on your device, right? But you're going to be able to click 2, and then you'd click next. I don't want to, so I'm just going to click 1, but I'm going to click next. Now it pops up, right? And on a mobile device, it'll look a little different, right? On a phone, it'll look a little different. You'll have to scroll a little bit. On a tablet, it'll look just a little different, but it will work the same way as I'm showing you on this big screen, right? Antecedent, right? You presented the demand. They had a tantrum, right? And then I left them alone, let's say, right? It happened in the bathroom with the teacher, right? Submit. Okay, that's how easy it is. They can do that as much as they want. Each instance will be recognized. Okay. Now, a couple things, because you might ask about this. We went back and forth with a lot of people, like I mentioned. Some people said, well, I want ABC required, right? And so we thought about that for a few minutes, right? Actually, more than a few minutes, back and forth, internally with our team of BCBAs and externally with the survey members. At this time, it's not required. The reason being is that there could be 30 instances of behavior, and quite frankly, that would be a lot. And we know that on paper, right? Paper before CentralReach, before a platform, you don't always get all the data anyway. They might say it happened 30 times. You get 5 instances. We didn't want to block the rest of data collection. That might be a future project for us to make it required, or a toggle on and off of permission. And then the second thing is we didn't tie it to behaviors in the sense that if I start this tantrum behavior, right, this timer, this is a tantrum, it's a duration timer, but I also want ABC. So by me clicking that timer doesn't mean that ABC pops on for tantrum. That will be probably in a future update as well. The survey respondents, the team members I met with, were about 50-50, right? So we decided not to go that route, okay? But that'll again be a future, a future update. So you will have to take your data, right? Click, 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 click. This is different than putting ABC in for that hitting. Okay, so just want to make that clear. All right, a couple of things to mention. I am going to stop this. I'm going to end that session. Okay, so I've just collected ABC, right? So there's a few places I can view ABC. I can go to my session history, and it'll notify me not with a lot of information, but just a little information that someone did ABC, right? So you notice that, right, your usual session summary, right? Started, ended, branches not run, right? And then ABC history. So if you have it, right, it'll show that. It shows that I entered one. So it's just a supervisor's quick little look. They can say, oh, Greg entered and entered ABC. All right, so that's the first place you can see it, but not the main place. All right, so I'm going to X out of here, and I'm going to go into the next place to view it. Okay, So on the branch itself, right? So if I go to any behavior, I have my ABC history. Oh, that doesn't have any. Let's go back to the reliable tantrum. ABC history. There we go. Okay. Antecedent behavior, right? Consequence, location. Okay. Notice I used to, and someone had asked about this, what happens if you edit your template? So my old one had little notes and location/activity with free text. Notice that? But then my new one that I've changed it around a little bit has a location column with a drop down and then a who was present. So you get all the details of the old ones as well. Okay? So there's my whole history, and of course you can print it out. Okay? So that's my first place. All right? Well, rather the second. So you can look at it in the session history, just a quick little look to see if they did it. You can get more results if you're looking at that behavior specifically, or if you're looking at many behaviors, you're going to look across the tree, which means pop open the tree options, get to our ABC history. Pop it open. Now you get all your stuff, Now I can tweak this a little bit. Let's go last 60 days, right? My first one that I entered data on, this would be the name of your first template, the name of the second template. So we break it up by ABC sheet, right? Notice that the columns are different, okay? And I can print very easily, right? Print it out, but I'll get rid of that, all right? So that is how to view your tables, okay? So I'm going to look and see if there's any questions so far. Hopefully you guys like the look and feel of it. All right, let's see. On a tablet, you won't be able to hit control, so we are able to select more than one at the same time. Yes, you are, Jennifer. I forget what they had said. You are definitely able to. I think it's holding it down or kind of holding them both down. I'll be able to point you in the right direction of how you would do that on the tablet, but you 100% are able to do both. And if there's any really savvy iPad and users that are on the line, you can kind of type back to Jennifer if there's a nice way to multi-select in that fashion. But I do know that we support it. Okay. Can there be a system-wide template, or does each person need to make one for their own use? Wonderful, Penelope. I haven't gotten to those permissions yet, but 100%. Just like criteria settings, just like instructional notes, just like some of those other things, you are able to use a company template. So I'll get to the rules about that in a second. Okay. But as you can see, right, so far we've made one, right? We've clicked it on. We've collected data in a tree, and we've collected data in a session, and then we've looked at the tables. So now we'll look at the graphs, but hopefully what you're seeing is it's very easy, right? Making the table is quicker. We don't have to push save. We just kind of click enter. We enter our stuff. Very easy. The therapist, right, they pop it open, take their data, takes 10 seconds, right, and then the supervisor will know what occurred that day, okay? So now the graphs, all right? So the graphs, new users that come to us can actually buy, starting when it gets released, right, they can actually purchase just ABC. The things that they'll get are everything that you just saw, the ability to make it, the ability to collect it, and then the graphs for ABC. Other users that have the graph analysis, they will get ABC included in that, in addition to scatterplot, advanced interval analysis graphs, and then a new friend that we're adding in about a month or so, learning opportunities per session across staff and everything. So those are what come in what we call the graph analysis tool, okay? Either way, you'll need the graph analysis tool turned on, right? Whether or not you have the old ones or not, okay? So some users have scatterplot and advanced analysis, and like I mentioned, there'll be a sixth one here that says learning opportunities. Now, but others that just want ABC, will be able to just get those and purchase just that in the future, okay? So what it does, right, so as it currently does, it defaults to scatterplot, right? You're able to kind of see some stuff, but let's take a peek at the ABC bar graph, okay? So I'm on tantrum. So if you see on the left side now, the system knows that only these were my domain labeled branches. Okay, so all this stuff was just from my book. It was branches that had that behavior domain. Okay, so you're able to kind of click and see, right? We'll give a few examples here. So here's my bar graph. So first what you're going to do is you're going to plug in a date range, all right? Okay, and then I can view my antecedents, right? So what this is showing me is that during that date range, right, I have hitting, and I've had a count of 3, right? 2 of which have denied access to item, and then 1 of which has attention giving to others. Okay, I can throw on my consequences, right? I still, of course, have 3 instances of ABC, right, that I've collected data for. 3 rows, right? Picture that old sheet on paper, 3 rows. 2 of which, right, denied access, 1 of which attention, and then, of course, the consequences over here, access to preferred item, and then attention given, okay? So that's how the bar graph works. Let's do one more sample. Tantrum, right? Let's do a little bit different date range here, okay? So I have 9 antecedents of took toy, 1 antecedent that was clicked, right? That was demand presented. So a total of 10 behaviors, okay, over that date range. I can throw some data labels on. I can put my consequences on, right? So these should match up, right? 10 and 10, so we're good, right? So 10 tantrums, and then the consequence side, 3 timeouts, right? 6 left alone, told him no was 1. Let's throw on location, right? 8 happened at school, 2 happened in the bathroom, right? You know, who knows, at school, at home, in the community, but bathroom, right? So obviously school is more probable in this instance. Taking toy clearly is an antecedent, right? And then the consequences are a little spread out, all right? So that's a cool looking graph right there. I could also throw who was present, right? I used to have free text, and clearly I just typed in a little random thing right there, but now I have some choices there, okay? So very easy, just like our other graphs in CentralReach, just kind of hover and click, okay? Take away the grid lines, right? You can always print, download it, okay? Next graph, pop line graph, all right? So what this is showing is the different paths, right? So tantrum behavior over time, all right? So I can get rid of location. What you're going to see, let me open this up a little bit. All right, so I can kind of toggle on and off my stuff right here, okay? And what you'll see is across time, okay? So my data is a little you know, funky. I just entered randomly some days and everything, but what this will show you is just over time the different totals. Okay, so school, right, school, right, different over time. All right, so that'll be more helpful as data goes on. All right, lastly, ABC hypothesized function. Okay, so what this will show you, okay, is the differences, right? There's no sensory, no tangible. There's 20% of those responses that I had linked to attention, and then 80% linked to escape, right? It's not, you know, it's not going to give you all the facts, but just something really handy for you. And again, the therapist, right, the direct therapist didn't have to guess, right? It's just something you plugged in on the backside. Okay, so those are the graphs, right? Printable, show your labels, right? Pick your date range, and then you know, analyze your data. All right. What do free text A's and C's look like? So free text is interesting. That's a great question, Penelope. So if my stuff was free text, this is the best way to show you, right? this was free text. So I wrote that. So there's only one occurrence, right? One instance, rather, of that person. That could have been teacher, right? It could have been Mrs. Susie, right? Miss Susie. The problem with free text, I mean, it's not really a problem, but for graphing, if no one's going to write consistent free text responses, you're going to probably have 10, 20 different ones all at one instance a piece. So a lot of people are going to probably use the narrative, which is great, but more the table printout version, right? Their use is more the table, whereas if you want the graph, I would probably recommend the single select and the multi-select, okay? Let's see, and then can that sensory be changed to the more behavior analytic term of automatic reinforcement? Now, I actually thought it was in the setup. Give me a sec here. Let's see here. So it does say sensory automatic. That's, I'm sure we could tweak the terminology a little bit there, but yeah, it does say it is right there. All right, so that's a little bit about ABC, okay? Now a couple things, right? This right here, I didn't show you this, okay? This ABC data right here, this table creator, okay? This is where you're gonna have your own stuff, okay? Your own stuff that I've made. Notice when I was in the book, if I am, let's go to Matt's again. I want to make sure people understand this part. If I'm in the learning tree settings, notice that when I first started this presentation, I went right here, okay? And I then went to manage my templates, okay? So if I click this manage your templates, it brings me to this same link that I could have gotten to from right here, okay? I want to explain a difference. So you're always going to be able to go here, or you're going to be able to go here. This screen specifically may have your own, and it may have your organizational templates that I think Penelope asked about a little while ago, which is a great question. So I might make some right here, right? And then I might manage them right here, but you'll get to the same spot. The difference is that I've made 3, but my organization hasn't made any. Okay, if they did from the organizational account, if they made 2 others, let's say, right, they would be sitting here, but they wouldn't be able to be edited or tweaked by the user. Okay, they would just be able to be used by the user. Okay, so they'd be sitting here ready for you to click. Now, it's not only the organizational account that can make and edit the organizational templates. It is a permission that folks can be put into, okay, right here, settings, ABC data table creator, manage organizational templates. So what this means is if you give 3 or 4 people access to this new permission when it comes out, they will be able to see and edit those main ones, okay? Just like our note and form kind of templates, just like our Learn Manager, which kind of can make those criteria, those prompting strategies, it'll be just like that, okay? But even without that, a user will be able to use their company's templates, right? So that's a little permission. Let's see. Question here, is the only option for representing hypothesized function a pie chart? Jennifer, right now that is the only option. So we wanted to give the bar, the line, and a pie. We just thought the pie chart, looked good for that, because it probably wouldn't be, I don't know, not as much put into reports and everything, but I'm sure we'll add more. So we wanted to get this out the get this out the door, and then we'll tweak and make any modifications for version 2. Okay. Let's see. How do the graphs work when multiple consequences have been selected? The function graph. So that's a great question. For all the graphs in general, if multiple things are collected, it still counts as one occurrence right? But that would increase the percentage on the function graph. It was kind of tied to 2. Those percentages would go up, if you have 2 things selected. But if it's 2 consequences or 2 antecedents, it will show up on each graph as part, but it'll actually show a count as one behavior, but then it'll count as the column for antecedents and consequences will go up. In addition, on your data entry history table, you will be able to see kind of, both items there, okay? And then just a couple more things. I didn't want to take too long. For people that are thinking about purchasing, so like I said, all of our current subscribers up until a couple months ago, when Learn was just one big package, they will get this ABC. Now, what we've done recently is we've broken Learn up into packages. You don't have to get the whole thing. You don't have to get certain things, but you can add on. So ABC will be between $2 and $3 to get alone. And then the graph analysis tool, which has ABC, the scatter plot, the advanced interval graphs, and then, of course, the new one I mentioned, the learning opportunities, that will be between $4 and $5 a user. So either between 2 and 3 for ABC, between 4 and 5 for the graph analysis, just based on your current subscription level as well. All right. So that is a little bit. All right. I will take a couple questions here, but how does everyone think? Does it think it's pretty user-friendly to kind of create and use? Great question, Kate. So not a way currently to see which ABC entries go with each graphed data point. So we did not tie it yet. So that is a future thought, right? We had to go one way or the other. We decided to go this route. So think of that, paper ABC sheet where you can't really tie it to the exact data point. So for example, if you have a frequency clicker and they clicked 20 times and you only have 4 instances of ABC, it means they just collected 4 instances of ABC, but that 20 still stands. That's still correct based on the occurrences throughout your session. Okay. So yes, this webinar is recorded, and I will turn it into a video that you guys can watch, put it on the YouTube, put it on the help, and put it in your email. Since you're subscribed, you'll get it. Yeah, that's about it. So just to recap, this will be going into a beta situation for just a couple weeks, and then by September 1st or so, it'll be for everyone, as depending on your subscription. And we hope you enjoy it. And then if you have any questions about subscriptions or if you're going to get it, feel free to email me. It's G and then my last name at CentralReach.com. So that's GPAQUETTE at CentralReach.com. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. One last question here. Learn admins who can manage the ABC tables would go to Learn, Settings, etc. to set the templates for the organization. You bet, Penelope. So right here, you guys would have that, and then you'd be able to add it. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.